The state of a home often fluctuates between states of order and disorder. This cycle is a common observation in daily living. Many households find that objects accumulate and spaces become cluttered shortly after being tidied. This phenomenon is not necessarily a reflection of personal habits alone, but is influenced by a range of factors inherent to modern life and the design of our living environments. One fundamental concept is that of entropy, which in a social context can be understood as the natural tendency for systems to move from order to disorder in a home. This means that without continuous effort, things will naturally become disorganized. Every action, from making a meal to reading a book, involves moving objects from their designated places. A book is taken from a shelf, a cup is placed on a table, mail is set on a counter. Each of these small individual acts contributes to a gradual accumulation of items that are out of place. Over time, the cumulative effect of these daily activities results in a space that appears messy. Another significant factor is the volume of possessions within a household. Contemporary consumer culture often encourages the acquisition of goods. Homes serve as the primary storage location for everything a person or family owns. When the number of items exceeds the available designated storage space, clutter becomes almost inevitable. Surfaces like tables, countertops, and even floors become default storage areas for things that have no other home. This is often referred to as a clutter threshold, the point at which a space can no longer absorb more items without appearing disorganized. Each household has a different threshold depending on its size, layout, and storage solutions. The design of a home and its systems also plays a crucial role. Many living spaces are not designed with the realities of daily life in mind. For example, entryways without a designated spot for keys, mail, and bags often become drop zones where these items accumulate. Kitchens with insufficient counter space may lead to appliances and ingredients being left out. These are points of friction in the daily flow of a household, when it is more difficult to put something away than it is to leave it out. The path of least resistance often leads to clutter. These are not failures of organization, but rather systemic issues within the environment itself. Household dynamics contribute as well. In a home with multiple inhabitants, the number of daily actions and objects in motion multiplies. Each person has their own routines, possessions, and habits. Coordinating the tidiness of a shared space requires constant communication and shared responsibility, which can be complex. What one person considers tidy, another may not. Different schedules and energy levels also mean that the maintenance of order is not always synchronized, leading to periods where the home appears messy as different activities overlap. Psychological factors are also at play. Decision fatigue is a known phenomenon where the quality of a person's decisions deteriorates after a long session of decision. At the end of a day, the seemingly simple choice of where to put an object can feel taxing. Putting an item back in its proper place requires a series of micro decisions: picking it up, walking to its storage spot, and placing it correctly. It is often easier to defer this decision by setting the item down on the nearest available surface. This is not a sign of laziness, but a common cognitive shortcut. Furthermore, many objects in a home do not have a clear single home. These are often items that are in frequent use or transition between uses. A laptop may move from the desk to the sofa to the kitchen table. A child's toys are used in various rooms throughout the day. These homeless items are a primary source of visual clutter because they are constantly in a state of flux, without a designated resting place. Creating a system for such items is a common challenge in household management. The concept of clutter blindness also contributes. Over time, people can become accustomed to the state of their environment. An object left on a table for several days can start to blend into the background, becoming part of the familiar landscape of the room. The brain stops registering it as something that is out of place, and so it remains there. This is a normal adaptive response, but it means that clutter can build up incrementally without being consciously noticed until it reaches a critical mass. Finally, the perception of mess is subjective and culturally influenced. What one person sees as a cozy, lived-in space, another might view as cluttered. The standards of tidiness often promoted in media and advertising can create an unrealistic expectation of what a home should look like. A real, functional home is a dynamic space where life happens. It is a stage 4 activity, not a static display. The ebb and flow of order and disorder are a natural part of its function. Understanding these underlying factors provides a more neutral observation of why a home can quickly return to a state of mezzanezes after being tapped. It is a complex interaction between human behavior, the objects we own, and the spaces we inhabit. Experiences can differ between households, as each has its own unique combination of these elements.